How's it going? My name is Joe. Welcome to recap episode number 94. Today we're going to be covering Indiana Jones, The Great Circus Mystery with Mickey Mouse, Shaq-Fu, Firestriker, and Final Fantasy III. Let's get started. Indiana Jones, The Greatest Adventures. This game had so much promise. It was made by LucasArts. It looked like Indiana Jones. It sounded like Indiana Jones. They used Harrison Ford's likeness. They had the music, the sound, the settings. Everything was there for it to be cool. And it's such a bog standard, ludicrously difficult platformer that it just sucked the fun out of it. The game looked good, and it didn't even play that badly. The jump physics had some issues, but the thing is, it was just like ludicrously repetitively hard. Like dudes coming at you, one shot hitting you. I mean, you have a health bar, but God, it just felt like every time you started to get hit, you would get hit 5 times. It reminded me a lot of Aladdin for the Super Nintendo and the Genesis in gameplay style, except those games felt smoother and a little more fun to play. Like this game had everything I wanted. I love Indiana Jones. It just wasn't fun to play, which sucks. So it gets a thumbs down. I really didn't want to do that to it, but it was not good. So what are you going to do? Next up, The Great Circus Mystery starring Mickey and Minnie Mouse. This is part 2. The first one I played a long time ago with my son was Mickey's Magical Quest. So this is Magical Quest 2. There is a Magical Quest 3, though it only got released in Japan. This is 2-player co-op. I was playing it with my wife. Currently, you can see we're using the mountain climbing gear. So it's kind of the same concept as the first game. You get 3 or 4 different outfits that you can change into throughout the game, and those help you get through levels, defeat certain bosses in certain ways, and everything else. But it is just a fairly standard platformer in terms of what you're doing. Start at the beginning level, try to get to the end of the level. The graphics looked good. The music was good. The gameplay was good. I think Magical Quest 1 played a little better, frankly, and had the better outfits. Now, this one, I liked the mountain climber I liked those climbing gear outfits better than the mountain climber in part 1. But this one has a Western outfit with a pop gun and a hobby horse, and the movement when you have that outfit selected is god-awful, which makes it very prohibitive to want to use it, and you kind of have to use it, especially for the boss of that area, it felt like. And so that just kind of was a letdown. But otherwise, it was still a fun game. I still had a super great time playing with my wife. As a 2-player couch co-op experience, definitely thumbs up. As a single-player experience, probably still a thumbs up. It's a solid game. The Magical Quest series was good. I've heard the third one was also great. Why it didn't get to America, who knows. But definitely give this one a shot if you get a chance. Worth a play. Next up, Shaq-Fu. This game gets a lot of hate. And I can understand people saying it's not good and it's not worth getting. I don't get the hatred for it. So it has this interesting overworld map here, which I'm sitting on for way too long in this piece of the video I clipped out and didn't even realize it. Everything looks good. I like the world map. You get into the fights, the characters look good, the sprites are fairly detailed, and the animations are pretty smooth. But the problem with it was it's so zoomed out. Your sprites are actually super small on the screen. And you're going to see that here in just a second. And I feel like had they made the sprites bigger, would have improved a lot. Because I thought the graphics were pretty good. The movesets were... I could never get most of Shaq's specials to go off. I could do this flamey kick and occasionally a flame punch, I think. But he's supposed to have a ranged attack. I could never get it to work. I did play some more as some of the other characters. I beat the game. And it was okay. I'm not going to recommend it. It gets a thumbs down. But I don't think it deserves quite the amount of hatred that it gets. It's fine. The game works. So check it out if you want. But thumbs down in the end. Next up, Firestriker. This game was a very pleasant and interesting surprise. I went into this thinking this was going to be a JRPG from the look of the box, and it turns out it's not. It is a sort of action, top-down Legend of Zelda style action mixed with Arkanoid from the arcade games. You know, the Breakout style alleyway. You're a character. You run around and you bounce this fireball around to break bricks and kill enemies and get through doors and eventually beat bosses. It was a very interesting game. I loved the genre mix. The music was okay. The graphics were okay. They're not amazing. I mean, really, they're not. Look at them right there. It's just, they're not the most impressive. But it was fun, and it was very intriguing. It was a totally different idea than things I'm used to, and I'm always going to like stuff like that. So I give it a thumbs up. Firestriker is interesting. It's loose, goes for like $120. It is not that interesting. Like, I would happily pay like $30 for it and to put it in my collection, but not no 120. You're out your mind. So if you get a chance to play it, definitely give it a look. But I don't think it's worth buying the cartridge for that kind of price. It was very neat. There are like 4 different characters you can play as while you're playing. Some of them are fast, some of them are slow, but when they hit the ball, they hit it harder. Some of them, I think their hitboxes were a little different. You need to use certain characters to get through certain levels, so that it is required that you kind of switch off. Fun game. Interesting. Thumbs up for Firestriker. Final up, we got Final Fantasy 3. Everybody knows how I feel about JRPGs at this point. I don't care for them. This is probably the most popular Final Fantasy. I don't know a lot about the Final Fantasy games or their lores, but I recognize the bad guy's name, Kefka. I recognize the opening scene. This is the one where it's got Magitech, and so the people are like walking around in walker robots. So I definitely recognize this as, in the culture of gamers. Like, people talk about Final Fantasy, and they talk about the Magitech and the robots, and Kefka being a bad guy. Maybe Kefka's a bad guy in multiple games, I don't know, but I definitely recognized it. So I played this for an hour. It wasn't unenjoyable, but after an hour, I didn't really get far enough to get into the thing about JRPGs that annoys me, which is the constant grinding to get to the next area. And when you get to the next area, you find out you're not leveled enough and having to continue to grind even more. So I didn't get a chance to experience that. I'm going to assume it has it in it. I think every Final Fantasy game has that in it, except maybe Tactics. So I'm still going to give it a thumbs down as a personal opinion. If you like Final Fantasy, chances are you're going to like this Final Fantasy, so a thumbs up for y'all, but not for me. And that's it. That's this set of 5 games. We're coming into set number 95, creeping up on 500 games played. Very, very exciting. So, well, thank you guys for sticking with the show and everything, and we'll be back again after the next set of 5 games with another recap. Have a good one. Bye.